Hey guys, my name is Priscilla, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first YouTube channel, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but bear with me. So I'm obviously in my dorm, and you click this video because you want to know how to get into Notre Dame and stuff. And if you catch me like looking this way, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So like, bear with me, okay? Okay. Now the question of the day, like how did I get into Notre Dame? Like what are the facts, the numbers? And I'm gonna be as transparent with you as possible. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is GPA. GPA is very important. Like it's probably the most important thing to getting into like really high, like higher schools and stuff like that. Especially here at Notre Dame. So for me specifically, when I graduated high school, I had a 4.1 weighted GPA, and then my unweighted GPA was like a 3.96 or like a 3.8. Yeah. And what I did was like I took like harder classes and stuff like that. So like I had like my first year in high school, I had like honors math. And then sophomore year, I had honors math and honors chemistry. And then junior year, I took all IB courses. And then senior year, I took all IB courses. So that kind of helped with my GPA just a little bit, and stuff like that. Okay, the next important thing is class ranking. And I know you can't really help that, but how does like how ranking works, and based on like my observations, is it depends on like the percentage of your grades. So like let's just say I had a 4.0. Let's just say that I had a 4.0, and I have a friend who also had a 4.0, and she's top 6 in the class and I'm top 8 in my class. How does that work? So basically, the way that my school worked up until senior year was that in order to get an A, you had to get a 93%, and at least a 92.5. A 92.4 and like somewhere like a 92.4 to like a 80 something was a B. And how I thought about it is, as long as I get a 92.5 or a 93 in a class, an A is an A is an A. Well, my other friend was thinking she needs to get at least 100% in a class. That's the least. And if she has to like go down for some reason, the least that she can take would be what, a 96 or something. And she had like classes where she had like 105 because of extra credit and stuff like that. So like that helped boost her class ranking up. As for me, who was just settling for an A, would be in the top 10, but not as high as her. And to put things into perspective, my class was a really small class. I think we had like 30 something or 60 something students. It was a really small class, and it was a very hard class to get through because everybody in there was smart. Like you had people, like I said, I had a 4.1 GPA graduating, and I was top 8 in my class. And then there's people who are like a 4.2, like a 4.1, just like me, who was like higher than me. So class ranking do count. So like watch out for your grades and make sure like you want to keep your GPA, not just your GPA up, but like your grades higher too, because it's gonna help you with your class rankings and stuff. And the next thing on my list is resume. You don't want to be a plain Jane, just going to school, go home, repeat. You don't want to do that, because that means that you're not putting any effort. Like you're putting effort into your school, but you're boring as a student. You're boring. Like you're not doing anything interesting that stands you out from everybody else who's doing the exact same thing. Like for me, on my resume, I did a lot of stuff. Like I was an intern at the Chicago Law Department once. I was an intern while I was going to school. I think my sophomore or junior year. I went to like I worked as a Korean traditional drummer at some point, which was random, but I was on there. Like, I was in baking club, I was in skateboarding club, I was in soccer, I was in pretty much everything I could get my hands onto. I was a student ambassador, like literally just everything and anything that I could grab on as an opportunity. I took that and flew with it, and that built my resume, made me more interesting. And my grade was like, yeah, it was like great, but like it made me a lot more different than every other applicant that was applying, because a lot of people who apply here has a high GPA. All right, the next thing that's on my list is essays. When you're writing your personal statement, or like just all the essays that are specific to the school, be as honest as possible. Just be as honest as possible. And if you have trauma, that's great. Write about it. You suffered through it anyways. You might as well get into a great school with good scholarship from it. Write about it, because not everybody, like, people are writing about like cookies, and people are writing about simple things, and they read your essay and they go, wow, it's gonna stick with them. They're gonna fight for you to come here, because wow, like this kid went through that, did all of that on their resume, and had a high GPA. Yeah, they gotta come in. Like they gotta come in. They're gonna fight for you. Write about your trauma. If you don't have any trauma, be as honest as possible. Find something you're passionate about and just write like everything that's on your heart. Just write it out. Write it out. Because it's gonna set you apart from those pretentious people who are just coming up with random stuff and just writing about it. Yeah, the essay is good, they're good writers, but they don't have vision. There's no passion in there. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay. There's one thing I cannot comment about, because I took out my ACT score. I took it out. ACT. I took it out. I'm not a great test taker. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't do test taking. So I took out my ACT score. And that's great, because Notre Dame like was test optional when I was applying. I'm not sure if they are now. But if they are test optional, take advantage of that and take out your ACT score. Unless your ACT score is like a 30 to 31, or like up in the 30s. You know what I'm trying to say? If it's not, take it out. It's gonna do you more harm than good. Take it out. And the next thing is letters of recommendation. I can't stress this enough. You can never have too many letters of recommendations. You can never. You know who I asked? I asked my pastor. I asked my art teacher. I asked my business teacher, who's also my history teacher at some point. I asked my literature teacher. I asked everyone and anyone. I would have asked my mom if they would let me. Like, I was asking everyone, because I needed them to push for me and stuff like that. And the next thing that I did was apply to scholarships that would push my my applications out. So like, I applied to Posse. What I mean is, I applied to the Posse scholarship, and I made it as a finalist. And as finalist, they told us, if you don't make it as a scholar, you can sign this paper here, and we will send your application to as many schools as possible. And one of those schools on the list was Notre Dame. And no, I did not get the scholarship. But they did send my application to Notre Dame for me. And yeah, I still had to apply to Notre Dame on my own. But Notre Dame got two different applications. They got my application, and they got the application that I sent to Posse for them to send to them. So they knew, like, I wasn't just like a regular kid. Like, they knew they wanted me, because I had so many things going for me that, like, it was hard to reject me, if you get what I'm trying to say. I also applied to Questbridge. Listen, this is not what the video is, but side note, you might want to apply to these scholarships, because when you get it, it's full tuition. It's full tuition. Apply for it. And if you don't get it, they will push your applications for you to get into the schools. There's nothing to lose here. Just do it. And finally, the last thing on my list is the fact that I am Black. Like, I can't lie to you guys. The fact that I am Black, first generation, and poor is what got me into the school. Like, on the list, I was like looking at some statistics randomly one day, and the school is full of rich people. A lot of rich people. And they want to diversify the place and keep their numbers and up, like how diverse they are. So they're gonna want poor people who are smart. And what better way to add on there than trauma and Black? That was what worked for me. So if you're like in my same position, you might want to apply. I'm just saying, there's a higher chance you might get in. I got in here, and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. And at the end of the day, it's pure luck. So like no one really knows how they got into this school, and we're all grateful. And oh, one last advice: do not run away when you see the tuition price, like the sticker price for the school. It is $75,000 to $78,000. One of them. It's extremely expensive. But do you know this hack is the people who come here, the students who come to the school, about 80 to 90% of them are rich. Their mom and dad can pay $70,000 out of pocket for them to come here every year. Some of these people live in mansions. Like, these people are rich. They're rich. Some of these people have, like, their parents are like senators or something. Like, they're rich. Okay? They can afford this. They don't need scholarships. As long as they get it, they don't care. They can pay $70,000 for 5 years even. They don't care. Which means that the extra fund that this school has, who else do you think it goes to? The poor Black kid with trauma. You don't have to pay anything. And if you have to pay anything, barely $10,000. Which is what most people are paying in high school anyways, right? Like $6,000, $10,000. You can do this. And if you get a loan and you pay for that, after you graduate with Notre Dame on your resume, you get a job quickly, which you can pay it off. So do not let the tuition scare you, sis. That's just one advice that I got for you. Have a great day, and I wish you the best of luck into getting into the school, because this school is great. It's great, and we love it here. So good luck. Okay, thank you so much for watching my video, and leave a like, comment, and subscribe so that we can grow out here in this platform that we have, and I can make more videos. All right, bye babies.